for me anyway, you don't know why you want to do something before you do it. I get like an intrinsic feeling of just like you're drawn to something and you don't know the reason why, and it's only at the end of something that you kind of take a step back and you just look at the experience, you just go, that's why. And it's just everything, the ups, the downs, just literally the entire thing, and you can't necessarily explain why. It's just living it is the reason.
Hello, intrepid listeners, and welcome to the Carpe Diem Live Your Dream podcast. What was all that background noise? No, it's not a problem with your speaker or with my recording equipment. It's just the sound of waves slapping against a boat. That's because my guest today, Jasmine Harrison, was sailing with some weather out on the Coral Sea, just east of the Great Barrier Reef, heading towards Australia. It was so cool holding the conversation via a StarLink satellite connection as she cruised her way out in the middle of nowhere. I could only imagine how different her world was versus mine at the moment. There's another unique aspect to today's show, not just the waves in the background, because actually, it's just half a show. Jasmine has such an amazing and varied set of adventures and world records. For the first time ever, I had to split my conversation with her into 2 back-to-back episodes. You're about to hear the first half. So what is it this young woman has done? Her first big adventure was spending 70 days rowing a boat 3,000 miles across the Atlantic Ocean. Then, to shake off the label as a rower, she embarked on a 100-plus day swim 900 miles up the entire coastline of the United Kingdom to the top of Scotland. You'll have to hear how she managed the logistics of that one. And now, as I speak with her for this show, she's halfway through a 14-month, 30,000-plus mile solo circumnavigation of the world in a very tiny sailboat as part of the inaugural Mini Globe race. Be sure to tune in again next week for the second installment of Jasmine's incredible adventures, and check out my Instagram account at GoCarpeDiemNow for some photos. Forgive the background noise of the ocean, and enjoy the show. Jasmine Harrison, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really good. How are you?
I'm fine, but maybe the more important question is, where are you?
Oh, that's a very good question. I am in the Coral Sea, about, I reckon, 210 miles off the Great Barrier Reef on the eastern side of Australia.
And you're heading there?
Yes, I'm heading towards the Great Barrier Reef to go through it, to go through the Torres Strait, which is the northern part of Australia.
What's your next destination on land?
It is Thursday Island, which is just a little random island on the north of Australia, actually next to Wednesday Island and Tuesday Island.
It makes sense. Somebody had some rhyme to the reason.
Yeah.
Well, I am thrilled to be talking to you right now at sea. I'm going to ask you to describe your boat in a moment, but what's amazing, you're doing this on StarLink, is that correct?
Yeah.
Because you are coming through so loud and clear, so perfect. And I'm just thinking, I sailed across the Atlantic just a few years ago before StarLink was available. I had an Iridium satellite phone. I could not have done this conversation.
No, honestly, Starlink is better than like normal Wi-Fi. It works better out at sea, but I do have sat phones and I still do use them as well sometimes because you can't always make a WhatsApp call. So yeah, I do know exactly what it's like, but yeah, Starlink is incredible.
Wow. And this is not a paid advertisement. It's just 2 sailors loving the new technology. It's really changed life at sea. I guess, Jasmine, this is kind of an out of the field question, but it's really changed life at sea. Is it always for the better, or do you sometimes want to go back?
Well, this is what's really good about it, is that you can just turn it off. And on my boat, anyway, I'm all solar powered, and so it does drain lots of battery, and so I don't use it very much. I turn it on once, or sometimes twice a day. I need to tell people that I'm okay, other than that, like, I am very happy with not having any internet as well. So yeah, it definitely is a good thing, especially because it is optional.
Yeah, personally, I really appreciated that life at sea, crossing the ocean, being disconnected for a time. It was quite refreshing.
Yeah.
So we hear some of the sounds in the background. Can you just describe what's going on around you right now? The weather, the seas, the boat?
Well, right now, the weather is due to be picking up. I have probably constant 16 knots of wind gusting 20, and within the next hour, I should be having 22 gusting 30. So, yeah, the wind, I can hear it howling slightly as it's just trying to pick up. The waves are starting to pick up as well. But yeah, because it's dark, you can't necessarily see it. But it is still so far a lot calmer than it was for me last night.
And what was last night? Describe that.
Well, to be honest, I didn't really sleep because I spent most of the time just trying to cling on to stay in bed because I was just being thrown all around the boat.
Yeah, that's not a very large boat you're on. What is it you're sailing?
It's not a boat that many people have heard of. It's called a Class Globe 580, which means it's 5.8 meters long, which is 19 foot. This class got developed in 2020, and they're all home built boats.
19 feet, 5.8 meters, you said?
Yeah.
That is that is tiny. I'll tell you, I rode a boat down the Mississippi River years ago. I had it built, a wooden, just lapstrake
Hmm.
plywood. It was 19 feet, and it was small. I was rowing the thing. It was small. I've seen photos of your boat actually. It's cute. It's beautiful and cute. I love
Yeah.
the coloring. Did you paint that or did it come that way?
No, it came that way. I did some stuff myself, but the main kind of design was, yeah, it was bought like that.
I've seen your Instagram videos, and even in light seas, a boat that size, you're just bobbing around like a cork, really. There's just
Yeah.
not a lot of stability on that, is there?
No, but this is what I'm used to now, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's small enough so there's not actually that sort of, you can't really stand up like ever. So there's not really far to fall. So it doesn't really matter.
That's a positive way of thinking about it. That's good. Are you in the cockpit now or are you down in the cabin?
No, I'm down below. I'm laid on my bunk just because, yeah, because it's a bit windy outside. You probably wouldn't be able to hear, and I don't trust a massive wave to not just completely wipe me out and make this phone stop working.
Yeah, smart. Yeah. Okay. So, right now, for our listeners to understand what you're doing, describe your overall journey. What are you embarked upon right now?
I am taking part in something called the Mini Globe Race. So I left Portugal in December along with 15 other boats, sailed down to Lanzarote. That was a qualifier for the race
In the
organisers. Yeah,
Canary Islands
yeah.
on the coast of Africa. Yep.
hmm For the organisers to say, yep, you can sail 600 miles, we're going to let you go around the world. So I then did the Atlantic to Antigua and then left Antigua to do the Caribbean Sea to go to Panama. And then we hauled out, got driven across the canal because we're too small and we don't have engines, so we can't go through the canal. And from Panama, we left to go to the Marquesa Islands. From the Marquesas, we headed to Tahiti. From Tahiti, we headed to Tonga. Tonga, we headed to Fiji. And then I left Fiji just over 2 weeks ago. And obviously, next stop is Thursday Island. After that, it is Mauritius. Then it's to Cape Town. Then it is still up for debate, but there is possibly one more stop, maybe South America, before we head back up to finish in Antigua in March next year.
You finished in Antigua, not the Canaries. Okay. Okay.
This race has never been done before. These little boats, the furthest they've ever gone is as far as we are now. And so they're all still it's a bit of a trial and error deciding what to do, where to go, and how it's all going to happen.
Oh, fascinating. And this whole journey it's more than a calendar year, right? You departed the Canary Islands in what, December of 2024?
Yes. And
Yeah.
then we finish in the end of March 2025. So the mini globe race itself.
End of March
Oh,
2026.
2026, yeah, sorry. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
bit confused. But yes, the mini globe race itself is from Antigua to Antigua and it takes 14 months. But to get to the start line, you have to do the Atlantic. And
Uh,
then, to do the Atlantic, you've got to do from Europe to the Canaries. So that is like an extra bonus. So that took another 2 months for that bit. So it's a 16-month full trip, but only 14 months for the actual mini globe race.
okay. Okay. And I'm going to come back more to some of those passages, Jasmine. But first, what on earth possessed you to do this?
Um, I'm not sure. I always answer that as like, yeah, the reason why is always discovered, not even as you're doing it sometimes, but definitely at the end. You take a step back and you see the whole thing, and you're like, that's why. You don't know what it's going to be like beforehand. It's just like an adventure. So that's why I want to do it, because I love an adventure and the unknown. But it's as you're doing something, it's just incredible, and you get all these experiences, and you have the amazing sunsets and the wildlife and everything. And then, so then moments you're like, yeah, this is why. But I think it's the unknown, the adventure side of it, that kind of inspired me from the start.
Oh, that is the most beautiful description of that question I asked that I've heard yet.
For me anyway, you don't know why you want to do something before you do it. I get like an intrinsic feeling of just like you drawn to something and you don't know the reason why, and it's only at the end of something that you kind of take a step back and you just look at the experience, you just go, that's why. And it's just everything, the ups, the downs, just literally the entire thing, and you can't necessarily explain why. It's just living it is the reason.
Yeah, it's like this impulsive quest for adventure that you know is going to turn out just phenomenal, but you don't know exactly how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's only, yeah, afterwards or when something's happening that you can then say to anybody, yeah, that's why. You don't know before you do it. Like, there's no guarantees for anything. And if there was, it wouldn't be the adventure.
Yeah. And that, Jasmine, is really getting to the heart of the intent of this show to inspire people to go take that leap into some adventure, even if they don't know why, even if they're apprehensive. So, what is it you would say to listeners to encourage them to do that?
I would just say to follow your heart. If there's something that you want to do, even if you don't know why you want to do it or you can't explain it to anybody else, it's just do it anyway, and then yeah, you'll find your reason why. Even if it's like you don't necessarily enjoy something, you learn something from it. There's always a reason, whether it's good or bad or what. But it's pretty scary a lot of the time. But yeah, there's always something to gain by just doing it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of blind faith when you take that first step, huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, you are not new to that feeling, I know. You've done some other pretty amazing things. Tell us a little bit who you are and then what some of those other things you've done before you dove into a solo round the world sailing race.
So, yeah, my name is Jasmine Harrison. I am 26, live in the north of England. And actually, when you were talking earlier about rowing the Mississippi, I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. Because, yeah, in 2020, I rowed the Atlantic. My boat was actually 21 foot long, so 2 foot bigger, well, longer than my boat right now and your
Oh,
rowing boat.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
And then in 2022, I swam the full length of the UK. So from the most southerly point, which is called Land's End, up to the most northerly point in Scotland, called John O'Groats.
Oh, We should spend an episode on each one of these, Jasmine, but let's let's start with the row because that was really the first thing of the three. So you were 21 at the time, roughly?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So thinking back to the decision to do that, were you already that type of person? Because people don't just go from 0 to 100 like that very often. How
Yeah.
did you get into a row across Atlantic?
So I've always been quite sporty, always absolutely loved sport, loved outdoors, adventure, and new stuff. Long story short, as soon as I turned 18, I was like, right, I want to go travel. So I went straight to the Caribbean and I spent 6 months in the Caribbean. And it was only when I was there that I was in Antigua and saw the finish line for this row and realized that it was possible and that it was something that people did. And immediately I was just interested, I was hooked. And I said to myself that one day I would do it. And so I wanted to make that happen because I promised myself that I would make it happen. But yeah, for me, it was just I want to do stuff when I find out that it's a thing or that it's possible. So it's just that inspiration of like knowing that something exists. I'd have maybe wanted to do the row years earlier if I knew that it was something that, you know, people did or were taught in school that, you could go and do these crazy things and that it is accessible to anybody, actually.
So you were in Antigua, you were at the finish line when the same race happened to come in, and you what, just caught the bug and thought that would be cool?
Yeah, so actually, at the time, I was 18 and I'd been traveling. I'd been away from home already for like 5, 6 months at that time. And I'd sort of like, I was at a bit of not a loss, but I was like, I wanted to achieve something. All of my friends had gone to uni and they were sort of working towards the degrees and doing exams and that sort of thing. And I was there like, yeah, I'm just on another beach. And it didn't sort of seem like I was sort of, yeah, I wanted a goal. I wanted something to aim for. And this
Yeah.
sort of came along. And so it was sort of something to set my sights on so that I could then continue enjoying doing my traveling because I knew that I was going to have an aim and that effectively, whilst all of my friends were working 3 years for their degree, I was going to work for that time to row across the Atlantic.
Wow. So how did you pull that off? You just looked up the race details and found a boat, bought a boat, and just started training?
Ish.
I make it sound simple, and I said it that way intentionally. I'm going to guess here that it is effectively that simple in some regards, and yet it must have taken just an amazing amount of time and effort on your part to pull that off.
Yeah, a ridiculous,
Yeah, yeah.
a ridiculous amount actually. Sorry, I just got thrown across the bed. Um, so yeah, so to start with, because I was already at the finish line, I spoke to the race organisers and found out as much advice as possible. I then sat on it for about a year and thought, is it something that I actually wanted to definitely do? And then I thought I should go to the start line for the race before mine. So in 2019, I went to the start line, spoke to all of the rowers, spoke to everybody that was there, and basically went boat shopping. I also went on a rowing boat and learned how to row kind of at the same time. And that was my 12-month camp down before I started. So I then came home and worked my hardest to try and get some funding so that I could then purchase the boat. And it was then COVID, so I actually had the whole summer out rowing and training and just building up my strength, trying to get some more sponsors. And then it was, yep, get the boat ready and off I go.
Ah, yeah. And so, what is that, about a 2-month journey?
Yeah,
Did you ship the boat to the Canaries and then
yes,
row from there?
yeah.
And
Um,
so that's about what, 2,500 miles or 3,000 miles?
3,000, yeah.
Okay.
Um, and it took me 70 days, 3 hours, and 48 minutes.
70 days. So you're out there for over 2 months,
Yep.
all alone. I'm gonna guess, I mean, that's the route that you and I have both sailed before, that you probably saw about two boats off on the horizon that entire time, something like that, right?
Um, I saw a couple more, I think, but that's just because I was out there for so long. But not like too many, but a few. One came very close to me, which wasn't great. Um, but yeah,
Pulling out the flare gun
pretty
just in
much.
case.
Pretty much. It was nighttime, and they came within zero point 0.2 miles of me.
Oh, oh, yeah, that's close. When you're out at sea like that, you look at an approaching ship and you think, what are the odds? Right? It's a big ocean.
Exactly. And again, I had similar about 2 days ago. I was crossing one of the big shipping, not an actual shipping lane, but a shipping route between Australia and China. And again, I got uncomfortably close to a massive boat.
I saw that on your Instagram. Yeah, that was very close. Especially, I mean, that's the kind that when we were sailing, my wife would really freak out, and I would just get on the radio and, raise the captain and make sure we were clear and that they saw me. But at least on the sailboat, you have a little bit more visibility. It was daytime for you the other day, right?
Yeah, it was.
And
Um,
yeah. But I
yes,
think those guys, I think on those big ships, they could be asleep at the helm. Like they're playing cards or who knows what they're doing.
yeah, exactly. So it was all up to me. And it always is. And funny, just at that point, as we were talking about that, I just went and switched my nav lights on, thinking,
Yeah.
just in case.
Just in case. Although I don't know, a boat your size, I don't know if that does much good. It's
It
such a
makes me feel
vast
better,
expanse.
we'll put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was your biggest takeaway from that Atlantic row, Jasmine?
Oh, everything, to be honest. It fulfilled a bit of a dream. It gave me my achievement that I wanted. My friend's got a degree, I got a world record. Um, it opened up so many doors and then has allowed me to believe in myself and just sort of make life be a bit easier, because now I just think of like hard days and you think, okay, was it as hard as this day when you were doing the row, for example, and therefore everything else sort of gets put into perspective. And it sort of has led me to being here right now and doing what I'm doing. So yeah, the row sort of triggered everything and completely directed the path of my life.
I guess your trajectory in life really changed at that point, didn't it?
Yeah, without even necessarily realizing, wanting it to, planning it to, any of that. It just sort of, it was a pivotal point.
Thanks for listening to the Carpe Diem Live Your Dream podcast. If you liked this episode out at sea with Jasmine, be sure to tune in next week for part 2. She'll talk more about all 3 of these adventures, the Atlantic row, the 900-mile swim, and her in-progress solo circumnavigation, not to mention more words of advice and inspiration. In the meantime, check out my accompanying website, www.gocarpediemnow.com, and then go seize the day and live your dream.